The Haunting of Vincent Price's Portrait. When John inherited his grandmother's antique portrait of Vincent Price, he didn't think much of it. He was never interested in the iconic horror actor who had passed away years ago. Little did he know that this portrait would be the root of his nightmares. One night, after a long day at work, John came home to the sound of shuffling footsteps. He ignored it, thinking it was his imagination. But as he walked into his living room, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The portrait of Vincent Price was no longer hanging on the wall. It was sitting on the floor, propped up against the wall. Confused and scared, John picked up the portrait and placed it back on the wall, making sure it was securely fastened. But every night after that, he would find the portrait on the floor. Each time he put it back, it seemed to get heavier and heavier. One night, John decided to do some research on Vincent Price. He discovered that the man who had painted the portrait of Vincent Price was a twisted artist who had killed himself just after completing it. Rumor had it that the artist's spirit had been trapped within the portrait and was restless. John attempted to sell the portrait, but every time he tried, something would go wrong and nobody would buy it. He was stuck with the haunted painting. One night, after a few drinks, John decided to confront the spirit that had been haunting him. He sat in front of the portrait and demanded that the spirit leave him alone. Suddenly, the painting began to writhe and contort. Vincent Price appeared to come out of the portrait and dragged John inside. Nobody ever saw John or the portrait again, but it's said that if you listen closely, you can still hear Vincent Price's laughter echoing through the walls. And if you happen to come across the antique portrait, you might want to think twice before taking it home with you.